I'm Amanda Joy. I'm the director of the Northern College of Clinical Hypnotherapy, and today I am absolutely delighted to be teaching you a little bit more about hypnosis so that you have a really in-depth understanding of the tools and the techniques that you're going to be teaching when you're supporting and helping mums have a really beautiful birthing experience. So today we're going to learn about the pioneers of hypnosis. We're going to talk about how they have influenced hypnosis and how they've influenced how we work today. We'll find out about how to induce trance and induction and how we can use hypnosis to help change how we feel, think and perceive our world. I'll also be doing, in the second little video, a short demo of a trance induction that's going to combine a gazing trance induction with a visual, auditory and kinesthetic induction and a lovely progressive muscle relaxation induction that all work really well with anyone when birthing. The granddaddy, the father of hypnosis, was an Austrian physician called Franz Mesmer, from whose name the word mesmerization or mesmerism comes from. He developed the theory of animal magnetism. This is an idea that suggests that diseases are the result of blockages in the flow of magnetic forces in the body. He believed that he could store his animal magnetism in large baths of iron filings and then transfer it to patients with steel rods and mesmeric passes. The next real pioneer of hypnosis was James Braid. James was a Scottish eye specialist who really developed a fascination and interest in mesmerism purely by chance. One day, when he was late for an appointment, he found his patient in the waiting room staring into an old lamp with glazed eyes. You know, when you've kind of just zoned out a little bit. Fascinated by this, Braid gave the patient some simple commands, telling him to close his eyes and go to sleep. The patient complied and Braid's interest grew. He discovered that getting patients to fixate on something, to gaze at something, to focus on a particular point or a place, an image, a picture, was one of the most important elements in putting them into trance. And he started to use a swinging watch as the eye fixation point. He subsequently published a book in which he proposed that the phenomenon of this trance state be called hypnosis. We still use gazing techniques to enter into trance today. Meanwhile, in India, British surgeon James Esdale recognised the enormous benefits of hypnotism when used specifically, in his case, to relieve pain. He performed literally hundreds of major operations, surgery, using only hypnosis as the anaesthetic. On returning to England, the medical profession just laughed and ridiculed him. However, some people believe that if chloroform had not been discovered around the same time as hypnosis for anaesthesia, then hypnosis would be far more widely used today. Another pioneer was the Frenchman Émile Coué. He developed something called autosuggestion. Although he is perhaps more famous for his saying, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. My primary school teacher used to always get us to say that every day. His new technique was the affirmation technique. He also anticipated what is known as the placebo effect. Recent research into placebos has been quite startling and shows that placebos often work better than conventional medicine. Emile Coué was the first person to realise the absolute power of suggestion in combination or in hypnosis. Later in the course, we're going to look at the techniques Esdale used to induce trance and relieve pain. But we also use Emile Coué's affirmations and autosuggestions when we're hypnobirthing. We give our clients those really fantastic positive affirmations, and we get them to put them up all over their houses, and we get them to repeat them every single day. And that comes from all the way back at the beginning of the journey of hypnosis with Emile Coué. So Emile Coué really believed in the power of suggestion, and he came up with 3 laws of suggestion. The law of concentrated attention, the law of reverse effect, and the law of dominant effect. I'm going to just tell you a little bit more about each of these laws and how they apply to birthing. So let's look at the law of concentrated attention. According to the law of concentrated attention, when a person concentrates his or her attention on an idea, that idea tends to become reality. So when we guide our clients to concentrate or focus on an idea about an enjoyable birthing experience, this becomes their reality. Our thoughts become our biology. What our mind believes or conceives, our body achieves. And we can really see this in modern science and in neuroscience, particularly nowadays. We can see this in how neurons communicate with each other and how our thoughts cause our neurons to fire in our body. The law of reverse effect. So the law of reverse effect means that when a person thinks that he or she can't do something, but then they try, the more that they try to do it, the less able they actually become to do it. So the more they try and try and try, the more difficult it becomes for them. When we apply this rule to birthing, we can see how by simply listening to our bodies, breathing well, and just going with the flow is so much more powerful than trying and trying and trying to control everything. It's a thing that we do, isn't it, when we feel nervous or frightened? We do naturally want to try and control everything. The law of dominant effect. So the law of dominant effect is really interesting because this means that a suggestion linked to an emotion will override any other suggestion in the person's mind at that time. The dominating effect, the strong emotion connected to that suggestion, causes it to have a powerful or a stronger influence on the mind. So when we add a positive suggestion to a positive emotion, for example, an image of a calm, relaxing place, at the beach with the waves lapping on the shore, or resting against a tree and sunbathing and feeling warmth and smelling the flowers. When we add the positive feelings that those images bring in combination with calming positive words, we can bring about positive feelings and really help to override any negative feelings and really help to keep our clients in just a perfect mental and physical space for birthing. So, What is hypnosis? It's a question that I get asked a lot from my clients, probably because they've seen stage hypnosis on the TV and they're maybe a bit worried that I'm going to get them running around like a chicken. It's important to really stress to our clients that what takes place under hypnosis is safe, it's natural, and it's non-magical. And it produces very predictable results. There's absolutely no question of being controlled or manipulated or even induced into a hypnotic state against your will. People in a hypnosis are not asleep, quite the opposite. They're often more aware than usual of what's taking place around them, and their senses are functioning far more efficiently than they would do normally. Hypnosis really tunes a birthing mum into her body so that she can move and breathe and use the techniques that we teach to really help her in a far more powerful way. People can't be made to do anything that they don't want to do. People who say or think, nobody can get me into hypnosis, nobody can get me under, or I wouldn't want anybody controlling my mind, or those who get worried and frightened and say, oh, but I might blurt out all my secrets. Do you know, they're just simply demonstrating that they have a total misconception of what hypnosis really is. Hypnosis, or the state of hypnosis, is actually just a very natural phenomenon. It's a very pleasant and very relaxing experience. And under hypnosis, people can talk, they can move around, they can chat very easily, and it's impossible for them to come to any harm. Currently, hypnosis is providing a valuable alternative to drugs for anaesthesia. And it's been found to accelerate healing, accelerate learning, relieve stress and anxiety, control pain, and increase performance. All really valuable things when birthing. A definition of hypnosis is, or a definition that you could give your clients is, a hypnosis is a state of deep relaxation and heightened awareness induced by suggestion. You know, it's also useful to know that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. A hypnotherapist is really just a guide, a facilitator who uses techniques to help clients go into a state of hypnosis, into self-hypnosis, and then to help or to facilitate a positive change in thoughts, in feelings, and in their behaviour, and in how their body physically responds as well. The human mind, it's amazing. And as Sigmund Freud suggested, another pioneer of hypnosis, the mind is rather like an iceberg in that most people only see the very top of the iceberg, the conscious part of the mind. The unconscious or the subconscious part is the bit that's underneath the water. It's much, much bigger, much, much more powerful. So the human mind consists of two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. Most people are aware of the 20%, that is the conscious mind, but there's another 80% underneath which has an amazing potential and it's not often used as well as perhaps it could be. If there was going to be a fight between the conscious and the subconscious would win every time. I guess it's a bit like a David and Goliath kind of situation, but Goliath would win. So the conscious mind has specific characteristics. The conscious mind is relatively weak. It makes us human. It gives us the ability to predict things, and it has a very strong sense of time. The conscious mind is apparently controlled by the left part of the brain where all the logic stuff is. And I say apparently because what we're learning about the mind and the brain is advancing so quickly and rapidly now that some of these theories are a little bit old and outdated. But there's still quite dominant left parts and logical parts of the brain that seem to be firing when people are in that conscious state. It always analyses, it criticises, it applies logic to the different situations that we're in. It has a sense of humour. It's the conscious part of our mind that makes us laugh. And its language is verbal. It works with short-term memories, and it can manage about 7 chunks plus or minus 2 pieces of information at any one time. And this is Miller's magic. It's really interesting to know when we're teaching so that we can present sort of about 7 chunks plus or minus of information at any one time. The subconscious mind, that powerful part of our mind, it contains all your wisdom, your memories and your intelligence. It's responsible for all the things that you don't have to think about. So things like your blood pressure, that's controlled by your subconscious mind. The rate at which your heart is beating, your breathing rate, your body temperature. And it's also in charge of those things that we've been trained to do, that we've become kind of really used to doing. For example, if you've been driving for a really, really long time, you don't get in your car and think, put the key in the ignition. You just automatically do that. You automatically just know how to drive. You don't have to think about how you do it anymore. It's just an automatic response, and that's a subconscious mind response. Memories are also stored in our subconscious mind. Every experience that we've ever had, everything we've ever done, seen, heard, smell, every place we've ever been, all of those memories are stored in our subconscious mind, and lots more too. So the characteristics of the subconscious mind, apparently controlled by the right part of the brain. That's the creative part of our brain. It can't analyse and it can't criticise. It takes every piece of information that it's given absolutely literally, which is why we jump when we're watching a horror film. Even though we know it's not real, our body still reacts as if it's real. That's because our subconscious mind is responding and reacting. So it can't distinguish between pretend and real. It hasn't got a sense of humour. And its language is the imagination. The main function of the subconscious mind is to keep us alive, to keep us well, to keep us healthy, to keep us safe. And so it will run all programs it considers protective. It never forgets. And it lives in the now with no real sense of time. Every single day of our lives, we're open to the overwhelming power of suggestion. This is what makes us the person that we are, from the day that we were born right up to the way that we are here and now today. I want to do a little example of the power of suggestion, just in a waking state, just a normal state without hypnosis just now. So for this exercise, what I'd like you to do is just get yourself nice and comfortable, and I just want you to close your eyes and just use your imagination. Remember that the imagination is the language of the subconscious mind. So, imagine, if you will, that we have a long plank of wood, about 1 foot wide and 12 feet long. Let's imagine that you've placed that plank of wood on the floor. And then I want you to imagine that you're going to just walk along that plank of wood from one end to the other. And in your imagination, you'll probably feel that this is an easy task. Keep your balance perfectly. No wobbles or worries or anxiety or anything about that activity. You just simply imagine yourself walking from one end of the plank to the other end of the plank. With no issues, no anxiety, no fears, no worries. Easy. But now, let's say we take this plank and place it high up in the air, for example, between two very tall buildings. If you imagine putting that plank up between those two very tall buildings now, and I wonder, can you walk over it now like you did before? Most people will refuse to even try. Why? After all, you've just walked along the very same board from one end to the other without the slightest difficulty. So why the hesitation now? Just because it's been elevated. The matter of balance is still the same. It's the same board, it's the same shape of board, it's the same size of board, you've got the same feet, you've got the same body. Nothing's really different. But it's just as well that even in your imagination, you probably didn't want to walk across that board. Because to walk on this, to walk across that board in that new dangerous position, the chances are that if you did this in real life, you would become dizzy, probably fall off, and perhaps even kill yourself. So why is this? Well, the answer is simple. The position of the board, now stretched out at that great height, suggests the possibility of a fall. The suggestion of falling is now present. So you have suggested to yourself that you may fall off this plank of wood, and actually, you may even kill yourself. And this suggestion is so powerful that, in fact, it interferes with your sense of balance. And try as hard as you can, try as you will, you'll not overcome this suggestion and the fear that's connected to it. That fear of a dangerous fall, unless of course you belong to a circus. So we're already hypnotised. Just think about it. All the birthing stories people hear and see and may have experienced, not that many are positive. We are constantly influenced by what we hear, see and feel from our surroundings, and we develop reactions to what we experience regularly. Advertising clearly demonstrates this by linking a product to certain music or a product to certain colours or words or pictures, and when they do that, a brand image is created, and customers respond to the image subconsciously and are more likely to buy a product if positive feelings are triggered by those associations. Negative information is also powerful, and this can override positive information at times. However, we help women to choose the messages they want to listen to. We help women to choose how they expect their birth to be, and we help women to attach positive emotions, those powerful, positive, dominating emotions, to suggestions, and this overwrites those negative stories and helps our clients to feel calm and in control. Let's talk about our sensory systems. So we take information in about the world through our senses. The world we live in, if you like, is experienced through our 5 main senses. So in hypnosis, we call this the VACOG system, and the letters in the word VACOG simply stand for the different ways that we experience our world. So the V is for visual, everything that we see, That's not just what we're seeing around us, but it's everything that we see internally as well in our imagination. The A is for auditory. That's everything that we hear through conversations or through talking or on the radio, but it's also connected with that little inner voice that we hear too. The K is for kinesthetic. That's connected to our emotions and our feelings and to physical touch as well. A lot of us, I'm certainly a kinesthetic learner. I like to interact with the thing that I'm learning with, because that's how I communicate and how I understand my world and my environment. The O is for the olfactory. That's all those smells, and we all know about the power of smell, don't we? When I smell lavender, I'm instantly taken back to my childhood and to my grandma, because my grandma's house used to always smell like lavender. And the G is for gustatory, and that's about tasting the foods that we taste and the responses that we have in our body as a result of taste and flavour. But we use 3 of these sensory systems to induce hypnosis, to take people into trance. And one aspect of the induction that I'm going to demonstrate in the next video for you today is called the VAK, visual, auditory and kinesthetic trance induction. This uses how we understand, connect, communicate, be with our environment to take our clients into hypnosis. The second element of the induction that I'm going to show you and demonstrate with you today is a hypnotic gaze induction. This is a bit like daydreaming. In fact, the trance state is actually a natural state of mind, and there are many times during the course of a normal day when we're in and out of hypnosis, or we enter into the same kind of trance that you experience in hypnotherapy. It happens when you're very relaxed or when you're very focused. It happens when you're gazing at a beautiful view. It happens when you're gazing or watching the TV. When you may catch yourself, if you're anything like me at times, just gazing at, well, who knows what. It's like you've just zoned out a bit. That's natural trance. That's hypnosis. The unconscious mind is still listening. Always listening. Even though the conscious mind is kind of switched off a bit, or it's intently focused on something, or it's completely distracted. This means that in trance, our mums can be in hypnosis, getting all of these benefits, but still are very much aware of what's going on around them and can talk and chat and connect with what's going on around her, should she choose to do so. When you're in trance, your brainwave activity is dominated by theta waves. Theta waves are those deeper brain waves that bring on a state of relaxation. While in theta, you can remove any blocks that you may have to any repressed memories, to any deep emotions, any memories or emotions that are connected with fear. And anyone watching you while being hypnotised might think you're not 100% aware of what's going on around you, yet inside your mind there is a whole world of activity. You're really turned on, tuned into your body, and very connected to the world of thoughts and feelings. Subconscious mind is always listening and recording the things that are happening at every moment in your life. So we can use a trance state to reprogram the subconscious by speaking directly to it using its language, the imagination. Third part of the induction I'm going to show you today is what we call a progressive muscle relaxation trance induction. This is an especially good trance induction during pregnancy and during birthing. It really helps to deeply loosen muscle tension, and that magical combination of calm mind and relaxed body really helps everything to go smoothly when guiding someone into trance. It's a really good idea to speak slowly and rhythmically, a bit like you're reading a lovely, relaxed bedtime story. So the first part of the trance induction uses those gazing techniques James Braid and Mesmer discovered. The second part is more a neurolinguistical programming technique, NLP, using the language of the mind, the language the world, the mind and the brain understands our world with, that VAK trance induction. And finally, I will incorporate a progressive muscle relaxation to really ensure our client is calm, deeply relaxed and in trance. So I hope that you really enjoy the next video where I'm going to demo this lovely trance induction. So for the next video, just make sure you've got a nice warm blanket, you're somewhere where you're not going to be disturbed, your telephone's switched off, and find yourself in a really comfortable position and sit back, relax and enjoy.